All right, so President Trump had a very interesting meeting with a bunch of technology leaders, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been in the news a lot recently, and there's been a lot of talk about the financial sector. And so we're going to get into some of these things because this is very important, very critical for the transition we're about to see in this next season. So let's get right into it. I want to start with a truth post that President Trump made a couple days ago, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also commented on this. So he says, "No one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran a greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically for them, they have failed to take it. Therefore, today, I am announcing the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. This will be an economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale. Their navy is gone, their air force is destroyed, the military factories are now rubble, their currency is worthless, and their country is hanging by a thread. Today, I'm also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will itself face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries, front companies, it all needs to stop now. You know who you are. There will be an economic D-Day, and we need all of our allies to stand with the United States of America to isolate and defeat the Iran threat. These maniacs are on the ropes, and these historic measures will cripple them and their ability to project terror worldwide. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon." Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this is very interesting because he specifies specific things that are going on, calling out the deep state money operation, the laundering operation, and how these guys are funded, not just Iran, but other outside actors. Now, Treasury Secretary Bessent also said this: any remaining tie to Tehran will hasten a nation's economic oblivion, whether that tie be purposefully constructed or willfully ignored. So he's stepping things up. Now, recently he was on the news for several things, including talking about and bringing attention to where some of the money is going. Now, recently people asked about Target as one example of the $1 billion tariff refund. If you remember, there was a $165 billion tariff refund system where the courts found that this particular type of tariff was not legal, and so they had to pay this back. But Scott Bessent here is asked about this.
Target received a $1 billion refund for tariffs. What does that say about the size, besides the fact that it was done so quickly and efficiently, the refund, but what does it say about the amount of Chinese-made goods and foreign-made goods that our retailers are still selling in the United States?
Yeah, well, what it says is that the Democratic attorney generals who filed a ridiculous lawsuit against this administration wanted the money to go back to the payer of record. So that is corporate welfare. The American people had that money. And if I hear another Democratic legislator make the inane remark, the American people should get the money, the American people had the money in the U.S. Treasury, and we were forced to give it back. But using the 301s, which have survived more than 5,000 suits, that we will get that tariff income back. But what you are seeing is that we don't know the discount that Target got from the Chinese suppliers. So, this is a corporate bonanza, which I said it would be at the time.
Secretary. And what's interesting is that the U.S. debt, the national debt, has now exceeded $40 trillion. And recently on CNBC, Bessent mentions that the Treasury buyback operation could be more than $4 billion. And recently, these are shaking up the markets heavily. Now, the DXY here dropping substantially. The bond markets having volatility, and this is being questioned by many reporters recently in certain press conferences. This is the 30-year, the previous one being the 10-year. And then what's absolutely crazy is gold and precious metals increasing. We talked about this for a very long time. And again, this has been only a few days. Bitcoin, crazy. Ethereum and many other crypto coins going up. And so this leads me to what President Trump and these leaders met to talk about. What we have here are leaders from the SEC, the CFTC, Coinbase, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, Robinhood, Kraken, Ripple, Chainlink, Winklevoss, and other major crypto infrastructure figures. And they're pushing many things, especially the Clarity Act that is to possibly be passed very soon. which basically deals or addresses the broader digital asset market structure by defining the regulatory boundaries between the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, and then the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, talking about the judicial boundary between those as it relates to digital commodities. And basically what's happening is that the government with Trump is effectively saying that regulators and builders of the new financial infrastructure are now working together. Remember, the key message here is that we're moving from the old infrastructure. Remember, Q mentions gold shall destroy the Fed, and Anon asking, do we have the gold? This is an infamous or very famous post. And what he is publicly displaying and showcasing to the world is not only, as I mentioned, with the post about restricting the money flow of the deep state, we're moving into something new. There's exposure, there's removal, but there's replacement with a new system. And so he highlighted some of these points. A strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is part of the, I believe, Genius Act, among many other things. He talked about this last year. He's done it. He's adding more to that. A government digital asset stockpile, a dollar-backed stablecoin, tokenized equities, blockchain-based financial markets, prediction markets, new rules for digital assets, legislation designed to make those changes durable for decades. So he's dismantling or replacing a captured financial regulatory structure and overtaking that with new things, with political lawfare, debanking, regulation by enforcement, and weaponization, and presenting the new SEC and CFTC leadership as removing these barriers. So he mentioned a lot of these things, what's already happened and what's going to happen. And people, it just went over a lot of people's heads because, again, they're talking about finances and just money and all that stuff. And it's a little bit confusing with regulations and red tape and all of this difficulty. But the major point was not only is crypto good and digital assets, tokenized assets, all these things are good, but it was a public demonstration that the Trump administration, financial regulators, and major private sector crypto finance companies are trying to rebuild parts of the U.S. financial system around digital assets, blockchain, tokenization, prediction markets, and AI, and make that policy framework permanent. This is huge. And remember, the old system, as Trump mentions, is hostile to innovation through regulation, quote unquote, weaponization, debanking. And if you remember, Gary Gensler was the previous SEC, very infamous during that meme coin or meme stock era several years ago, then contrasted that with his administration's actions, ending what he called Operation Choke Point 2.0, banning a CBDC, creating, again, the strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. So this is going to happen, a lot of it, through the upcoming Clarity Act, but also we've already seen it with the Genius Act, and we're seeing people coming together to try to dismantle this. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of Bassett, the Treasury, you're seeing a lot of Trump and pushing some of these things, but it's going over a lot of people's heads. The key message being that you're going to see out with the old and in with the new. So let's see what happens. I wanted to give you guys this quick update. Also, I haven't posted in a very long time. I wanted to let you guys know that I'm doing it all right. Thank you for the prayers. We'll love it if you guys can continue to pray for me. I'm going to try to post more. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.